Hello everyone. How do you secure the EC2 host or EC2 instances running into the AWS environment? And that is something we're gonna discuss today. And we'll also see, we'll leverage the Amazon Inspector service, and I'll also walk you through the demo on how the service typically runs. And the reason I'm making this video is oftentimes my clients are using the AWS, and they're not using NASA's, but they want to quickly get started on continuously monitoring the security of this EC2 instances or EC2 host, and they're not sure what is the best solution, or how do they approach it. So I think I found this is the most easiest way to get started for like a smaller companies or startups. So I thought it might also help you in your professional journey uh, to recommend your customers, or learn how to use this tool uh, to, of course, not just find out what the vulnerabilities are or what the misconfigurations are, but also how to fix those. So what Inspector does is the scope is very minimal. It's mostly focused towards the EC2 instances. And if you don't know what the EC2 is, it's sort of like, your one of the server or system. It could have either operating systems like Linux, Windows, and then it comes with the various flavors. You can when you create the EC2 instance, you can choose all those configurations. So, but the scope of the inspector is limited to that, and what it typically does in the scan is you have the option to configure the packages. So there are four packages you can, or rules you can run. One is the CVE, and as the name suggests, it's gonna check against the popular CVEs. So for example, if you're learning Linux, and what are the possible CVEs out there for the version that you're running. Then the network reachability, it's like load balancer, VPC, subnet groups. So it's gonna check the misconfiguration into those areas. Then CIS benchmark. So CIS benchmark has some of the best practices on how to configure the system. So uh, if it violates any of the service or configuration, that's gonna flag it. And then there is a security best practices, something like you do not open up the SSH port in the wild. So let me open up this. Actually, I have it opened up, and I'll show you how to read through all of this. So I think, okay, there it is. So if we look at the common vulnerabilities and exposure, so these are the CVEs, and I'm sure you must have seen this. So it's gonna go to this, check the available CVEs for given EC2 instances, and flag it like if you are vulnerable to, or your system is, or host is vulnerable to any of these open vulnerabilities. So that is one of the rule package which you can run. The next one is the network reachability. So here, as I said, it's gonna test out the application load balancer. So we'll analyze the configuration of the following entities for vulnerabilities. So it's gonna cover the EC2 instances, application ALB, direct connect, ELB, internet gateways, route tables, and all of this, as you know, are connected to your host or EC2. So that is why it's gonna analyze the configuration here. Next one is Center of Internet Security benchmarks. So the CIS benchmark program provides well-defined, unbiased, consensus-based, industry-based practice to help organizations assess and improve their security. So for Linux, you have these five options: then Linux, then Red Hat, Ubuntu, Windows, right? So it's gonna check against, if you're running any of these operating systems, it's gonna check against all of these benchmarks. And then you have the security best practices. So I help determine whether your system are configured securely. Disable root login. Of course, you should never use the root login. Then enable the ASLR, DP, password minimum length, and age of the password. So all of this, and of course you can click through to find out more details about what this check is. And they are also constantly adding some new rules, so you will always get the benefit of uh, this added functionality or added rules. So how this typically works is you can go to the EC2 and let's say you launch a new instance, right? So for example, let's say I go here. Uh, as with the NASA's as well, you need to install like an agent so it can reach. And same thing goes for the inspector. So if you let's say if you are running any of this OS, then there is a way to install the agent, or you can go to the marketplace and if you just search for the inspector, I think there are operating systems available with the inspector agent running. So for example, Amazon Linux 2 uh, with the inspector agent. So you can select that. I have already selected whatever the version, and I've already spun up the instance and actually completed the scan because it requires the scan actually runs for hours. So I thought it's easier. I just run the scan. But yeah, you can if you want to try it out, you just select any of this agent, configure it, and then go to the inspector. So let me so here in the inspector, let's say if you are creating you can create the new assessment, or you can, so this is the assessment which I already had, right? So, but then you can create the new assessment. You can select the EC2, or you can say like include all the EC2 instances in the given AWS account and region. And then you can also configure, if the agent is not installed, you can also select an option to install the agent on all EC2 instances in the assessment target. And here you can see uh, so this is the one that I had already ran, the test assessment, just to show you. So we'll quickly go through the reports, but here you can see it's for all the rules. So all the 4 rules that we just discussed, right? So it's gonna, and here you can also yeah, so here you can also see the rule packages that we just discussed. Um, now, if you go to the findings, uh, actually, let me show you the dashboard first. So here, this was the scan I ran, I guess, at 3:31, fairly recent, like a month ago, and it divides the finding in high, medium, and low. So this is very normal to any. You can also download the report, and then if you click on the finding, it's gonna populate the findings here. And when you expand it, it's gonna tell you what the issue is, like which package, like what was the package when the scan ran, the agent ID, which is not relevant to us, but yeah, the description. So this is the SSH or TCP port 22 was reachable from the internet. And recommendation is I should edit the security group to remove access from the internet port. Of course, I did that intentionally so I could see the finding coming in here. But yeah, so these are the type of findings, and the best part about this is when you're creating the assessment. So for example, when you're creating it, this one, I think I did it like I ran it only once, but usually I would prefer that someone would run it on an ongoing basis. So test 2, let's say, uh, right, save. And if I go here, uh, okay, I don't want to install the target, but then if I want to run, so this is the old one, but if I want to schedule a new one or new assessment, I don't have any EC2 instance right now, so it's not going to run the scan. But if I do, then I'll be given an option whether I want to do it uh, on a periodic basis. Like usually I would recommend to run it like every couple of weeks or every week or every month, or it's just the one time activity. So this is like, you don't need to go through like external tool like a NASA's. Of course, NASA's is I think NASA's is NASA's has a more checks than the inspector, but I'm sure eventually inspector will have all of those rules built into this one. But until you get to the NASA's, this is the easiest way you can go about it and install it for your AWS environment. So I feel like this was a good exercise for me when I had to, like, meet to the auditor or compliance, and we didn't have time to spin up the NASA's and quickly get it done in like a couple of hours. But yeah, this actually worked out pretty good. We got the report in like a couple of hours. We fixed everything, and then uh, in a matter of a day, like, we were in compliance with the audit requirements. So that's something I wanted to share with you. Thank you again for your time. Next week I'll come up with some different topic. And yeah, if you have any suggestions, please feel free to drop it into the comment section, and please don't hesitate to give a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for the weekly episodes. Thank you so much and have a good day. Bye.